You are listening to Smart Women's Dating Podcast, episode number 83. Welcome to Smart Women's Dating Podcast. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help smart, independent women attract the love they deeply desire without having to chase or settle. This podcast will give you the mindset tools and insights you need to finally crack the code to your love life. Are you ready? Then let's go! Hey there! I have created a new freebie for you. It is a free masterclass video with a PDF guide, and you can get it on the link in the show notes or on my Instagram bio at Lærke the Love Coach. The previous freebies are now retired, so if you have heard of some other free resources, the links are no longer active, but if you want them, you can send me an email and I will of course send them to you. So if you don't know what a freebie is, it is a free resource. It can be a mini course, it can be a masterclass, it can be a PDF guide or something else. So what is it then I have created for you? It is a guide on how you can basically build some chemistry and facilitate the development of a fun and romantic connection on a date. It's not really about flirting, but you could say it's a bit related to that, but I would rather say it's how to be intentional in creating the best possible conditions for chemistry to build and the connection to feel deeper. And I want you to do that so that you do your part, and if it's a connection where there is a potential, then you are helping this to develop. I know if I was a bit more marketing sassy, I would have probably said that when you use these tools, you will always get invited for the next date, and he will want to see you again and again. Because I really do believe that that is true in most cases. If you adopt these tools and you really integrate this and make it a habit to use them, I am quite sure you will get invited much more frequently than if you don't. And I've experienced that myself and also have clients who follow these tips. So I know it's true in many cases. But I think the intention here is more that you make a contribution. You do these little things so that you do your part of facilitating a positive development in a connection. Because I think it's important, as I also talked about in episode 81, that we don't just lean back and expect the man to be super charming and the ambience to be fun and romantic and chemistry to flow. And then if it doesn't, that's just too bad. He's not going to get a chance for a second date. So if you feel that the guy is actually okay, objectively seen, he ticks the boxes, he shows up, he invites you, he prioritizes you, he follows up and all of that, but you just feel a little bit flat, then you can either just accept that this is sometimes the case with healthy men who don't trigger your nervous system, who don't take you on an emotional roller coaster, but who are decent and solid people who genuinely want a long-term relationship with someone like you. It does sometimes take time before you feel that rush. And the sparks and fireworks on the first date is actually in no way a green flag. So you can either just accept that and decide to give it more time, if he is, as I said, ticking the boxes. Or you can try to facilitate it a bit. You can do your own part to see if you can create some chemistry and make the connection feel more fun and more romantic. And this is what I teach you some very basic and simple tools to do in this masterclass. So I'm not going to share with you here what the 3 tools are. Instead, I'm going to talk a bit about why I have created this. I can say that from my side of the table, where I speak to many women about men and dating, so not only my clients, also everyone who book a call and are a potential client, everyone who hears that I'm a love coach, so many spontaneously tell me about their love life and how they do dating. And I have noticed a pattern that many of you have, and I used to have that too. And that is to let chemistry and attraction be your guiding light in dating. And not only chemistry and attraction, but early chemistry and attraction, which means on the first date, if you don't feel attracted on the first date, you don't want to see him again. Now, what is the problem with that? First of all, Instant chemistry and attraction has absolutely nothing to do with a man's ability to be in a healthy long-term relationship with you. It is almost like letting the color of his car decide if you want a second date. There's no correlation between that, and many of you also know that you have experience with feeling very attracted to a guy that was hot and cold and not a healthy long-term partner. The second reason it's a problem is that when you feel this instant attraction to someone you've only just met, I would say it's kind of scary, right? Because you can ask yourself, what is it really that's going on here? How come I'm attracted to someone I don't even know? How can you feel attracted to a person you barely know if it isn't because of a subconscious programming, and most likely based on partners you've been attracted to in the past? And do you really want that to lead your love life? Unfortunately, instant attraction can often lead you to the wrong guys. When you think about it, the attraction you feel with someone you know and trust and where you see his qualities and you can answer to yourself why you feel attracted to him, why you think he's a sympathetic person. This kind of attraction is a much more healthy one. So I would encourage you to start changing the way you think about attraction. Think about it as the attraction you might feel to a really heavy chocolate cake or a delicious dessert, whatever you prefer. You can feel that attraction, but you don't have to act on it. Because you know that eating this chocolate cake every single day for the rest of your life, that would be a disaster for your health. It would not be very nourishing. And you also wouldn't want that. You will feel nauseous by that. So it's only reflecting a desire in the moment, a craving for dopamine. And that is very different than the safety, the emotional intimacy, the belonging and the trust that you are really looking for. Think of the instant attraction as a false pleasure. Think of it as a potential red flag, something you should really question. You should really ask yourself, I wonder why this guy feels so attractive to me. I don't know much about him. What is it or who is it that he reminds me of? And why do I want him to like me? What am I trying to prove to myself by wanting him to want me? Because sometimes, we gotta admit this, sometimes it's just a question of ego. We meet someone who's clearly attractive and handsome and charming, and then we get very obsessed with wanting him to like us back and pursue us. We don't even ask ourselves if he could be a good long-term partner. We just want him to want us, because it would mean something for our ego. It would feel like a huge validation to us, like we won a prize, even if we don't actually want that prize in our life on a long-term basis. It is time to put that aside, put the ego aside, and think of your future self and the relationship that you want to have and that can work on a long-term basis. And finally, the last reason why it's a problem to let attraction be your guiding light in dating is when you let that lead you. When you let instant attraction lead you, you are missing out on the good guys that could be wonderful partners, but who just don't activate your nervous system on the first date. The man who is a healthy long-term choice for you, he's not in the habit of charming women. He did not practice that for years. He does not have a ton of experience in how to get a woman absolutely hooked on his charm. He might not even feel very confident or experienced in flirting. He might feel awkward about that. But as you are a smart woman, you don't want to let that confuse you. You have to learn how to see through that, how to spot the good men, because they don't usually stand out to you the same way as the players. And here's what is a realistic scenario for many of you. You meet someone and you notice that he's a good guy. He shows you that he wants to see you again and again. He prioritizes you. He makes time for you. He wants to get to know you. He invites you. He asks you good questions and he is present with you. And you don't necessarily feel that attracted, but there's something interesting about him. There's something that makes you curious and you enjoy his company. You're having a good time on the dates. And bit by bit, he grows on you. The connection develops and you start to really see his qualities and how he makes you laugh. And even when you have a bad day, he he's still there for you, and he's grounded in this calm and safe and masculine energy, and he doesn't stop inviting you out just because you were not at your best the other day. And one day, when you haven't seen him for a week or so, you realize that you miss him. And when you see him again, you notice that all of a sudden you feel attracted to him. But it's because of the person he is and that you've gotten to know now. You would have never figured that out from the beginning. Now you feel like hugging and kissing him. And this is maybe 6 to 8 weeks into your dating journey. So just to make it clear, you should absolutely feel the chemistry and attraction with the man you choose as a long-term partner. You can't have a romantic relationship without that. It is very important, but it doesn't always happen just like that. And especially not with a healthy man who doesn't play these games that gets you hooked on trying to work really hard for crumbs. I've seen it so many times. The man who's a healthy long-term choice, he doesn't trigger your nervous system the same way. He can be difficult to recognize at first. You've got to focus on the green flags and just something interesting about him, something that makes you curious to get to know him more. If you have that, the green flags, something that makes you curious, and you are not turned off by him, he could be one of these wonderful men that you are not trained to recognize, but that you don't want to miss out on. So, coming back to why I made this training, I want you to give it a shot, give it a chance, learn these 3 tools and bring them to your dates. See what it does for the connection. They are all aligned with feminine energy, and it's a way for you to both show him your warm and positive side, but also a way to create moments of more emotional intimacy, small pockets of feeling connected, even if it's early on. And also, it's a way to show him that you are intentional in your dating life, that you are someone who's reflecting on what you want and don't want, and that you're looking for someone who is right for you, not just anyone. So, if you are dating a man who falls into the category of ticking the boxes but there's no attraction, I want you to be curious to see if this can develop, and I want you to decide to be intentional and take responsibility and do something on your side to facilitate that chemistry. So, that's it. There's nothing more to say about that right now. Go to the show notes and pick it up, and you can also find it on my Instagram account and on my website. Go try this out and let me know how it worked for you. You have nothing to lose and everything to win. Have a wonderful week. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.